In the last few months, I have felt like I am floating through life, which significantly terrifies me. So I took a moment to think about it, try to understand it. I sort of realized that this is not something I want to experience. I feel disconnected from myself. At the same time, it is a little scary to acknowledge because I have no idea what directions I'm moving and where I am at. In a way, I am feeling kind of lost. And it is so overwhelming that it gives me an impression that I got nowhere. You know, sometimes it feels like my life is going back to the drawing board all over again. I believe feeling lost and facing crisis in life is something that everyone experiences, not just once or twice, but plenty of time we go through this experience in our life journey. Sometimes, and that is when our lives completely change and grow like never before. Maybe that is how life teaches us a lesson to learn more about unlearn things about life. Maybe I'm facing this because I'm experiencing some massive transitions after graduations. About a year ago, I accomplished my postgraduate. Since then, I have been getting these monotonous and uneventful questions repeatedly from nearly everyone I know, including my family members and relatives. What are you up to next? I understand. It reflects their concerns, and I should be happy about that. But my mind has been trying to answer the question better, and I could not help myself find one. My initial goal was to do a PhD after completing my postgraduate because what could I have been supposed to aim to do other than that? That is what everybody does after their postgraduate. But then subsequently, I felt like I was most likely doing everything without any directed purpose. I was kind of following what everybody else was doing without even trying to figure out what I wanted for myself. Accordingly, I asked myself a few questions like how could I go for PhD just because everyone else was going for it? Is a PhD worth doing for where I want to go in life? Is there an actual return on my investment primarily in time and energy? And those are not quite obvious, and those questions made me wonder and made me rethink my outlook for the future. And eventually, I took a step back, and currently I'm in a gap year. I don't think I would go for PhD in the near future. Probably not at all. I'm more conscious than before in terms of making a decision, but still, right now, I don't know. Maybe I'm making the right decisions, or maybe I'm not. I'm not a nihilist, but sometimes I think there is not any right and wrong decisions. And I assume that making any decision itself is what it needs at that moment to move ahead in life. I firmly believe other people's opinion should not be matter to me. I anticipate that people will say what they have to say, no matter what I do. That is something I cannot control. I cannot control what people say about me. But still, I do concern and worried about other people's opinions and judgment. And I think we are all concerned about other people's opinions at all times. And that is how we humans are. I would highly appreciate you if you could consider hitting that subscribe button and sharing it to help me to help others. Lately, I'm pushing myself to the limit to find out my way back from that dilemma by getting started. Something like trying out new kind of stuff. And starting this YouTube channel is one of them. Not only that, but part of me also thinks that maybe I'm facing an existential crisis because I am seeing what I want to see instead of what I should be seeing. You know what I mean? Maybe I focused too much on the problems and got overwhelmed by it and got stuck with it. I should broaden my perspective and look at the other side of the world also. And here is one of my favorite words which helped me throughout the time from a book called Bodhicharya Avatara, written in 8th century by Shantideva. He said, if a problem can be solved, what reason is there to be worried? If there is no possible solution, what use is there in being unhappy?